Hey guys, Sibs here. I wasn't really gonna make a video for this, but I decided I might as well now because it's kind of interesting. Accidentally, if anyone saw the Forever Winter video I did about playing on a potato PC, this is that potato PC. As I smack the tripod around, so that's running an Intel i7 7700K, and we're gonna upgrade it. Thanks to the community over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Mr. Sibs, and my patrons on Ko-fi.com/Sibs. We were able to get some upgrade parts. As I said in that video, this machine currently does have an RTX 3080 in it, but we got a new motherboard, we got a new processor. But it is October, and I accidentally, I think, built the gothest gaming PC ever. So as you can see, this fractal case has no side window. I think the only thing that has RGB is the RTX 3080 that's in it, because it's an EVGA card. But the new RAM, the G-Skill Flare X5, has no RGB. I don't think the motherboard does. That's an X870E Aorus Elite from Gigabyte. But we're going to put this together. I'm not going to do a full breakdown and build. I'm just going to kind of show you once I get everything kind of resituated, because I'm not really set up to be that kind of channel to break everything down and go over it in minute detail. But just to give you a rundown, like I said, this is a fractal case. It's running currently an Intel i7 7700K paired to an EVGA RTX 3080 FTW. And I want to say this is still running DDR3 RAM. I don't remember if that board I have in there is DDR4 or not. This is why I'm not a tech channel. What we're upgrading to is an AMD Ryzen 78 X3D on the brand new AMD X870E chipset on the Gigabyte board. I'm going to run 32 gigs of G-Skill Flare X5 DDR5 memory. We're going to run a Corsair MP600 Elite M.2 NVMe for the OS. And for cooling, I got Thermal Grizzly. We got a graphene cryo sheet. I'm going to try that for the first time, and I decided to try a contact frame that's supposed to give a little better contact between the chip and the socket and the motherboard. Now, what is in this machine that's staying is I have a Be Quiet 1000 watt Dark Power 12 power supply. I also have a Be Quiet, I think it's called the power supply is a Dark Power 12 1000 watt supply. And the cooler is a Dark Rock Slim, also from Be Quiet. So those also have no RGB. So I think by the time I get everything put in there, the whole case is going to be black. Like, except for maybe a couple cables or whatnot. But yeah, this might be the gothest gaming PC that's ever been built. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, I'm going to jump cut to once I get the case open, and I got to clean up some stuff, do some cable management. But once we get the board built, I'll show you the board. I'll show you what the contact frame looks like. And I'll be back. Okay, so it's dusty in there. Not too terribly dusty, but dusty. I'm going to actually take the fans off and clean the fans properly. But I figured I'd give you guys a look at the inside of the case. So, very easy to take apart. It does have screens on everything. There goes mechanic compressed air. Oh, I don't need this anymore. I'm going to leave the drives. I think you can see that. I'm going to leave the drives plugged in. And then I pulled the power supply out. I'm going to redo all the cables, but I figured I would just show you what was in the case that's staying. But this is a good case design from Fractal. I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I should probably mention this is not sponsored. Like I said earlier, everything that you saw was bought and paid for. This is the power supply, which needs to be cleaned. Like I said, that's a dark power 12 from Be Quiet Modular power supply. Here's the old board. So we were actually going kind of goth to begin with. This is an Asus Strix Z720H. Not thermal paste isn't completely gone, which is nice. The RAM is also blacked out, no RGB. RGB doesn't give you FPS, so I don't buy it. I stuck these back in here. Let me see if I can pull one out and see what these were. Oh, these were DDR4. Let's see if it'll focus on that. DDR4 3200 16 cast latency. 2017. I like G.Skill. I think I've always had their RAM. The 6 I had before this one must have been the DDR3s I was thinking about, because they were red anodized aluminum on the heat spreader. And then here's the GPU. 3080 XC3. I guess it's not the FTW, but still in good condition. Didn't have a bunch of dust in it, which is good. Yeah, I'm gonna get back to it, clean everything up. Oh, and this is the heat sink. I took the fan off of it to get it out, but that's the Be Quiet. I think it's Dark Rock Slim. I gotta clean the thermal paste off. Gotta blow it out still, but very good. Doesn't make a lot of noise. All right, I'll be back once I get the new motherboard out and I vacuum my floor for like the 3rd time to get all the dust picked up. Okay, I just wanted to show you I'm on hand cam right now, but I wanted to show you guys for the heat sink, there is adapters I need to put on from Be Quiet. So these are the normal stock AMD cooler mounts. I need to unscrew those, and then I need to put one of these on each side here. Switch hands. So this is going to go on these 2 posts, and then there's another one that goes on this side. That there's a little bar that's going to clamp over the chip once it's in there, and that's what's going to hold it down. So that's something that's not standard, I guess, because this is the stock. And then here is the socket. And be very careful with that. This whole assembly is going away. That's what's going to be replaced by the contact frame, which I have conveniently put out of arm's reach. Yeah, all right, trust me on that. I'll show you when I get to it. Check out this insane heatsink over the I/O shield. That thing is beefy. There's all the inputs. And then we're going to put the M2 drive here. And then GPU. And then underneath this is more M2 drives if we want to use them down the road. But this thing comes with the best accessory. The Gigabyte G connector. This is for all your front panel I/O wires, which is the biggest pain in the ass of any PC build ever. I don't care who you are. But yeah, I'm going to get these brackets installed for the heatsink, and then I'm going to put the chip in very carefully, so I'm not going to film that. I'm going to put the chip in, and then I'm going to put the heat, or the contact frame in. I'll show you what the contact frame looks like when that's all said and done, and then we can work on trying to fit it back in the case. And I really hope we might have a problem with the height of this heatsink and the back fan that's in the case. So I don't know what we're going to do if that's the situation, but we'll find out eventually. All right, I'll be back with you guys once I get the CPU in. Okay, slight problem. I just opened up the ceiling frame from Thermal Grizzly, and I am one screw short in the little baggie to put the frame on. So I'm not going to put the frame on. I did get the chip in, and I got the housing off, so I'm going to put the housing back on. And I'm going to contact Thermal Grizzly, but I am going to be going forward with the cryo sheet. So I didn't get the brackets on first. I figured it'd be easier to do this first and then have the socket protected. So I'm going to put the normal clamp back on the board. I guess contact Thermal Grizzly, and we'll go from there. But yeah, I'll be back once I get the heatsink and the RAM installed. The RAM's dual channel, so I forget, where is it marked? Yeah, so the first two channels you want to use for the sockets is A2 and B2. So once I get the RAM installed, I'll come back. All right, I just had to look around the desk just to make sure I didn't drop that screw on the carpet or anything. I cannot find a small screw like that laying around on the desk. If I do happen to come across it before I finish the build, I'll come back and put it on. But I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to contact them and just see if they can tell me what the measurements are and if I can get one at my local hardware store. But it comes in a really nice package. This is what the actual frame looks like. Definitely want to put it on, but I didn't want to risk putting it on with only 3 screws. So I got the normal clamp back on. I got the risers for the heatsink back on. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to throw it back in the bag they sent it in. I checked the bag too, just in case it might have fallen out of the bag. I didn't see it. So I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and put the cryo sheet on. This is a graphene sheet that replaces your thermal paste. Actually, bear with me for a second. I'll open up the bag. Old man fights with bag. All right. Sorry, I took the phone off the tripod. Okay, so that is our cryo sheet. It's going to go on top here where we normally put thermal paste and act as our heat transfer medium to the bottom of the heatsink. Just going to go on like that. So once I get the heatsink put on, I'll come back and we'll put the M2 drive in and then get the board back in the case. Okay, we're ready to install the Corsair MP600 Elite. I got the heatsink on. I got the RAM in. Make sure the RAM is all the way in. It'll click both sides, front and back. Now, before I install the M2 drive, most important thing, take the film off of the heatsink, top and bottom. That plastic film, focus, you shit. Right, I want that off so it actually does its job. Oh, we are not going to be able to do this one-handed. Okay, well, thanks to YouTube magic, it'll be installed next time you see it. So here we go. Ta-da! And it's in. Okay, now I just got to put the heatsink on the top of it. Okay, heatsink installed, locked back in. It's not going anywhere. I'm not going to put the GPU in until it gets in the motherboard, or it gets in the case. And then I'll fight with that. So I'll be back once I have this inside the fractal case. Ladies and gentlemen, it's in the case. Now you may be asking yourself, what's up with the stupid skull? That's for something else, don't worry about that. But you may also be wondering why I didn't put the GPU in yet. That's because it is way easier to get to these front panel connector pins and everything else without having this massive brick in the machine. So I'm going to do the cable management, and then I got to hook up I'm going to run all the power cables and deal with this. So there's 3 SATA drives in there. They're not anything great. They're all older Samsung. I think it's an 840, an 850, and an 860 Evo. And I think this one and that one are only 500 gigs, but they still work. And then I think this is a terabyte. And then the Corsair is also 1 terabyte. But so the M2 drive is going to have the OS on it. And then this is going to have probably FL Studio and Clip Studio Paint and OBS on it. This is going to have games. That's going to have games or something. I also need to Google what the hell this is. I think it's what all the fans route into. So I got to figure out what plug this is supposed to go into on the motherboard. So that's going to take me a minute, and then I got to pretty this up, and then I got to jam this back into it. And then we'll put the graphics card in it. Then I can reinstall Windows and see what's broken. It should be okay. This is like the 5th or 6th computer I've put together, so we'll see what I forget in a minute. Next time I see you guys, I should have the GPU in, and we'll be ready to boot it up for the first. All right, boys, we're in. We're done. Just in time for Halloween. The GOTH gaming PC. Everything's buttoned up, everything's wired. All you gotta do is turn it on and get Windows running on it. So if you want to see what it ends up looking like, don't forget, stop by, check out my Twitch streams, twitch.tv/MrSibs, or always check out the channel here for more gaming videos. Hopefully now we can start playing Forever Winter on something higher than 30 frames per second. I want to say a big thank you to everyone that supported me and helped get the parts together for this. Like I said earlier, this was all paid for and none of this was sponsored. If you like the content, you want to help me out, stop by my Ko-fi, kofi.com/sibs. You can order art commissions from me. I have an art club you can subscribe to. But thank you guys for checking this out. Hope to see you gaming. Hopefully we get this up and running this weekend. And as for Bones Malone here, don't worry about him. You know, it's like they say, they expect one of us in the wreckage, brother.